Aliens boasted of their unkillable predator. Humanity brought back its collar. The Galactic Council chamber fell silent as Ambassador Vexitar's mandibles clicked with predatory satisfaction. The towering Zephyrian leaned forward, his crystalline exoskeleton catching the chamber's bioluminescent lighting. "Humans," he hissed, his translator rendering the alien phonemes into perfect standard. "Your species continues to amuse us with its optimism. But the Void Stalker of Kepler 442b has claimed 17 of our best hunting parties. Even our most advanced warriors equipped with plasma rifles and quantum shields have fallen to its claws." Captain Sarah Chen remained perfectly still in her simple gray uniform, a stark contrast to the elaborate ceremonial armor worn by the other species' representatives. The human delegation consisted of only 3 individuals, while every other civilization had brought dozens of advisors, warriors, and scientists. "The creature stands 4 meters tall," continued Vextar, now addressing the entire council. "Its height deflects energy weapons. Its speed exceeds anything our sensors can track. Its intelligence rivals our greatest tactical minds. In 3 standard cycles, it has made Kepler 442b's mining operations completely impossible. We've lost 6 billion credits in refined trilithium." The Aquarian delegate's gills fluttered nervously. "Perhaps we should simply abandon the planet." "Unacceptable," growled the Ursinian commander, his bear-like features twisted in frustration. "That would set a precedent. Every death world in the galaxy would become off-limits if we flee from a single predator." Vextar's compound eyes fixed on Captain Chen. "Which brings us to humanity's generous offer of assistance. Tell me, Captain, what makes your species believe it can succeed where the galaxy's apex civilizations have failed?" Chen stood slowly, her movements economical and precise. "Ambassador Vextar, before we discuss our methods, I'm curious about something. You mentioned the creature's intelligence. Has it exhibited any specific behaviors that support this assessment?" "It learns," Vexitar replied, his tone suggesting the question was beneath him. "It adapts to our tactics. It uses tools, rocks, fallen trees, even pieces of our own equipment. It sets traps." "Fascinating. And its physical description?" "You mentioned claws? Retractable, diamond-hard, capable of shredding our strongest hull materials. Teeth? Rows of them, each one designed for maximum tissue damage." Chen nodded thoughtfully. "Fur or scales?" "Dense fur, black as the void between stars. Perfectly adapted for camouflage in the planet's shadow forests." Dr. Elena Vasquez, the human xenobiologist, leaned over to whisper something in Chen's ear. The captain's expression remained neutral, but something flickered in her eyes. "One final question, Ambassador. The creature's size, you said 4 meters tall. Are we talking about shoulder height or total height when reared up on hind legs?" Vextar's mandibles clicked impatiently. "Shoulder height, obviously. When it rears up to attack, it reaches nearly 6 meters. The third human, a grizzled man named Commander Torres, made a sound that might have been a cough, or possibly suppressed laughter. "I see," said Chen. "Well, Ambassador, I believe we can resolve your Void Stalker problem. In fact, I'm confident we can have it handled within 48 hours of planetfall." The chamber erupted in incredulous, chittering, growling, and harmonic resonances as various species expressed their disbelief. 48 hours? Vexitar's voice rose to a dangerous pitch. "Captain, I'm beginning to think your species' reputation for reckless bravado is well-deserved. This creature has terrorized our forces for 3 cycles. Because you've been approaching it wrong," Chen interrupted, her calm tone cutting through the alien's indignation. "Dr. Vasquez, would you care to explain to the ambassador what we're dealing with?" The xenobiologist stood, consulting her tablet. "Based on the behavioral patterns, physical description, and environmental adaptation described by Ambassador Vextar, we're looking at what Earth taxonomy would classify as Canis, lupus familiaris, possibly a large breed variant, maybe a Tibetan Mastiff or Irish Wolfhound mix, though the size suggests genetic modification or selective breeding for increased mass." The translator struggled with the Latin designation, finally settling on domesticated canine subspecies. Vextar's exoskeleton actually creaked as he processed this information. Domesticated? You're saying this apex predator is tame? Not tame. Torres spoke up, his scarred face splitting into a grin. Just lost. Very, very lost, and probably scared out of its mind. When dogs get separated from their pack, their family, they can become extremely defensive and territorial. Chen pulled out a small device, holding it up for the council to see. This is a frequency generator. It produces sounds in the range of 40,000 to 60,000 hertz, what we call a dog whistle. If our assessment is correct, the moment we activate this device on Kepler 442b, your unkillable predator will come running. Running. To you? The Aquarian delegates' gills were fluttering so rapidly they created a visible current in the chamber's atmosphere. Dogs bond with whoever feeds them and shows them kindness, Dr. Vasquez explained. If this creature has been isolated on an alien world for an extended period, it's likely desperate for companionship. The aggression you've encountered isn't predatory behavior. It's defensive posturing from a confused, frightened animal protecting territory it doesn't understand. Vextar's silence stretched long enough that several delegates began to shift. Uncomfortably, "You're telling me," he finally said, "that our most feared enemy is a pet? A very large genetically enhanced pet that someone lost," Chen confirmed. "Probably fell through a wormhole or got left behind during a hasty evacuation. These things happen more often than you'd think." Commander Torres chuckled. "Ma'am, if I'm right about the breed, this poor bastard's probably been waiting 3 years for someone to throw him a stick." The council chamber remained silent for a long moment. "Captain Chen," Vextar said slowly, "if you can resolve this situation as described, the Galactic Council will consider it a debt of significant magnitude." Chen smiled, the first time she'd shown any emotion during the entire proceeding. "Ambassador, we're not asking for payment. We're asking for permission to bring our friend home." 2 days later, the footage reached every corner of the galaxy. A massive black creature bounding across an alien landscape, tail wagging furiously, as 3 humans in environmental suits played fetch with a makeshift ball. The creature, the feared void stalker of Kepler 442b, had indeed been wearing a collar when they found him. A simple leather band with a brass nameplate that read Murphy in faded Earth Standard lettering. The mining operations resumed within the week. Murphy, now properly vaccinated and registered with Earth's Interstellar Pet Transit Authority, split his time between a farm in Montana and occasional visits to various human colonies, where children lined up to pet the space dog who had terrorized the galaxy's finest warriors. Ambassador Vextar never lived down the incident, but he did develop a grudging respect for humanity's approach to problem-solving. After all, it took a special kind of species to turn a diplomatic crisis into a rescue mission, and Murphy, for his part, never wandered far from home again.